Once upon a time, on a sunny day in Squamish, BC,
Oh! You okay?
I don't know what happened. I was just going slow and went over the bars so easily. And that's how I managed to break my fingers. Another stupid crash, and when I least expected it. But, to be honest, I'm not really sure how it all got to this point. I reviewed the footage many times. There was no depressions, nothing sticking out, just me going over the bars. All I can attribute it to is rider error. Maybe it reminds me of that accident I had in Revelstoke. It's exactly like my crash last fall. Slow speed, over the bars, and landing on my hands. I think I may need to change my approach when it comes to these types of slow speed features.
You okay?
Of course, this injury had perfect timing as well. Summer was here, travel restrictions had lifted, and my trail, Stone Starlit, was complete. It was time to get on the road and ride. Ah, darn it. In spite of my injury, Yuka and I headed out on the road to tour northern BC, the Yukon, and hopefully Alaska, areas we had never visited before. But as we left home base, we were met with smoke from the many wildfires in the area. Heading towards Cache Creek, the scenery became more apocalyptic. And before long, we were face to face with one of the fires. In Quesnel, Yuka followed me on a green trail for my first ride in over a month. Though my hand was extremely weak, I was feeling optimistic and happy to be on the bike again.
But you went so fast. Faster than me. Bye-bye.
A few days later, the wooden features in Prince George had me tempting my limits. An adventure in which Yuka documented on her channel, Vangirl Yuka. As we continued north, the smoke started to clear and the moisture returned. The next stop on the trip, and the topic of this video, would be Burns Lake, a village of about 1,700 people. Now you'd be forgiven for thinking that small town equals small trail network. But that couldn't be further from the truth. All you have to do is visit Boar Mountain to understand. This lump of rock is absolutely covered in single track. Some are fast rippers through the green room. Others have techie slabs that you've got to creep your way down. Oh,
yes?
you're expert, huh?
I don't want to make a corner.
Or you can take a chill run down the blue jump line.
Okay, don't too much.
Of the 48 trails here, there's something for everybody. But if there's something consistent about Burns Lake, it's the amount of wood they use in their trail building. Like most places around BC, they've got wooden drops, skinnies, bridges. But to the people of Burns Lake, those types of features, while fun, are also a bit ordinary. So they get creative. This uphill ramp on full bore definitely takes things up a notch. But then you arrive at a trail called Waterloo, which is completely built out of wood.
This is wild.
So much wood, in fact, that you actually start to wonder when it's going to end. Well, after 2,000 feet of boardwalk, it actually does end. The corkscrew bridge on full bore doesn't need to be this complicated or even exist, but it does, and thank goodness for that. In fact, the builder spent so much time on it, his wife jokingly started to call it the other woman. But the real centerpiece of the trail network is the massive wooden berm at the bottom of the mountain. It's the first thing you see when you pull into the parking lot at the bottom of the mountain, and it's sure to elicit holy crap the first time you see it.
It's so big. Woo, holy crap.
It's literally the biggest berm I've ever seen, wooden or otherwise. And while this feature truly is amazing, there's a new trail in town, and it's called Hogzilla. This black diamond jump line, which opened a week before we arrived, is the envy of any trail network. This is not your janky jump line that the kids down the road built. It's a professionally designed, machine-built jump trail, like you would find at any paid bike park. Except this one is free and better than most bike park jump trails. And it's not like it's a short burst. This is a top to bottom run that takes more than 10 minutes to complete.
So fun.
For me, the whole trail is pretty intuitive, just stopping to take a look at a drop or two.
Yeah, just go straight.
But then, my kryptonite, a step up. I've always had issues committing to these, and the rocks on the left had me fearing a bad case. But I've had a lot of practice on these lately, and I've even built one myself. In spite of my still healing fingers, I figured I should have this. By using a line to the right of the lip to roll up, I was able to commit a little more with each attempt. Which eventually resulted in me actually clearing the whole thing. At the same time, we bumped into the builder, Sean. He'd spent the last 2 years working on the trail,
All right, thank you very much.
and today he was out keeping his baby in pristine shape. He's also responsible for a ton of trails in the area. But it wasn't just Sean who built the network around here. It's also the volunteer hours put in by the locals. Every Wednesday night, the club hosts work parties where they'll work on a section of trail for a few hours. This all culminates in a shuttle to the top of the mountain, allowing the volunteers to test out their handiwork. But how did such a small village manage to create such an awesome trail network? Well, it started in 2005 when a group of folks from Burns Lake visited Whistler for a mountain biking symposium. Of course, at the same time, they ended up in the Whistler Bike Park as well. It would prove to be the perfect confluence of events, and the dream was born, to build a public bike park in Burns Lake. Starting with a $10,000 grant, they've since invested over $2 million into the network, and it shows. They've now got nearly 100 kilometers of trail, most of which is shuttleable, a free campground on the lake to spend the night, a fantastic jump line, and of course that giant frickin' berm. It's pretty much the perfect location for a group of dirtbag mountain bikers like us to spend a few days. So if you're sick of all that smoke down south, or just want to try something new, head up to Burns Lake. It'd be rude not to. But, as always, thanks for watching, and stay gnarly.